Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. It's Tuesday, so Tag Tuesday. We're also at the end of the year, so everybody is, putting out these book lists of what they want to read in the year 2025, the upcoming year. And so I thought I would try to maybe double up on that and get both of those accomplished at once. And so the tag that I chose for Tag Tuesday is the Beefcake Challenge Book Tag. And I originally saw this on Debs' channel over at Raynor Reads Stuff, and the original tag was created by Al at Big Al Does BookTube 1097. And so I'll leave a link to their channels down below with all of the questions that we're about ready to go through. And there's not many on this, but it's all about big books, okay? Al over at Big Al Does BookTube, he came up with this, big books. It's almost a challenge, almost a challenge. And I think I said in my previous video, I hate making TBRs because then I tend not to get them accomplished. But these are ones I've been staring at and I've been thinking about long and hard over this last full year. So we're going to give it a go. So in this tag, the very first question is, what are the 10 biggest books on your TBR for this next year, for these next 12 months? And so, and by the way, anybody that sees this can do this tag. I'm going to tag a couple people at the end, but it's open to everybody. And even if you don't get to it for a couple of months, it's over the next 12 months. So it doesn't have to be 2025. It can extend into the next year. So anyway, what are the 10 biggest books on my TBR for this year? So the very first one is The Political Life of Abraham Lincoln, All the Powers of Earth, 1856 to 1860 by Sidney Blumenthal. Now, this book has been on my list for a couple of years, but I got distracted. I was doing really well. Like the first year I was on BookTube, I read the very first volume, and then the next year I read the second volume. And when year 3 came around, I put it off, and then I put it off again. And so I'm going to knock this thing out. They've been fairly good. I am looking forward to seeing him get volume 4 finished. I don't know. I haven't looked to see where he's at on that, but I would be interested in, buying it to complete my 4-volume set. So I think that's what he's doing it in, is in 4 volumes. Maybe it'll be 5. I don't know. But anyway, All the Powers of Earth, 1856 to 1860, Abraham Lincoln. It comes in at 758 pages. Now, one thing I do want to preface with this is, I have reasons for wanting to read all these books, and a big one for my Lincoln stuff is over the last year or two, I have collected a lot of books in my home library. And at one time, I had read the majority of my Lincoln books, and I had some still to go, but I had read the majority of them. But my Lincoln collection has grown to an amount that I no longer have read the majority of them, and I need to get to reading them. And so I've been trying to make an effort to do that. In this last month, I've read 2 different Lincoln books, and so this will be on that stack. So 758 pages. The next one comes in at 758 pages as well. It is a little bit thicker looking. The paper must be a little thicker, but this is a newer book. Came out 2 years ago, I think. The Last King of America, The Misunderstood Reign of George III by Andrew Roberts. Now, Andrew Roberts, I recently read his book on Napoleon, and I enjoyed that. I read that this last year, and I was able to, pick this book up, and so I'm excited to get to reading that. Again, 758 pages. It's pretty thick, and this book, I want to get this read because I teach early American history, and actually I'm talking about him right now in my classroom, or at least when I get back to my classroom. So looking forward to that. The next one was a gift from my good friend John David down in Texas. He had sent me The Soviet Century, Archaeology of a Lost World by Carl Schlegel. And this is another thick one. Now, my goal for this was I wanted to read some other Russian history, and so over these last couple months, I've read Peter the Great by Robert K. Massey. I read Catherine the Great by Robert K. Massey. Just got done with the Romanovs, the final chapter by Robert K. Massey. There's another one, Nicholas and Alexandra, but I don't know when I'm going to get to that one. But I'm also, like right now, this morning, I read the introduction chapter on the Russian Revolution by Sheila Fitzpatrick. And so I've been doing a lot of Russian reading, and this was one that was all over BookTube and came out from Princeton Press, and I think John David ended up having 2 copies of it maybe, and so he sent me one of those copies. Thank you, John. And it comes out, if you don't mind me looking at my cheat sheet, it comes out at 906 pages, so getting up there towards the 1,000 page mark. All right, the next one that I want to get read is My Life by Bill Clinton. This was his autobiography or memoirs, whatever you want to call it, that he wrote several years ago. I probably got this 16, 17 years ago, and I had started it. I had put it down. I started it again last year and got a little ways into it. 100 pages? 133 pages in, and I just put it down. Nothing wrong with it, just I was reading other stuff. But My Life comes in at 999 pages. So it is a big, thick book. The next one, this was sent to me from Princeton University Press. Maria Theresa, the Habsburg Empress in Her Time by Barbara Stolberg Reilinger. And this is a huge book. It comes in at 1,045 pages. It's one of the thicker of the titles. So it's a hefty book. Came out, was it last year or the year? Maybe the year before. Maybe been a year and a half ago or so. Anyway, translated by Robert Savage. But looking forward to reading this because this goes with my world history class that I teach that I need a whole lot more knowledge in. And that's one of my ways of learning for my classroom. I do a lot of reading on my own. The next one is Charles Dickens Classic, and it's Bleak House. This is a 1,063 page book. I will be honest, I know nothing about this. I bought this a long time ago because I knew it was a classic. I'd heard of it. It was cheap on the markdown rack at that may have even been Walden Books that I got this. I'm not 100% sure, but it was a long time ago. I feel like that's where I got it. But I picked that up and never tried it. And I was going to start it last year, and then I put it down. I got just literally a couple pages in, and other stuff came up. And so I just put it down. I knew it wasn't going to happen. But this is going to be real early on the docket. I'm going to be tackling this one in January. It's going to be one of the very first ones. All right, so the next one. I told you I've got Lincoln on my mind. And so biography I picked up a couple years ago, Abraham Lincoln in His Times by David S. Reynolds, or Abraham Lincoln in His Time. And this was supposed to be a phenomenal book. It was all over BookTube. It was all over the bookstore. They had, trying to push this book. And it comes out at 1,066 pages. But again, this goes with my Lincoln. I guess we could call it a project. I'm trying to work through all my Lincoln books. But I found that it's a lot of fun when I am buddy reading with people, and they know I like Lincoln. They know I read a lot of Lincoln, to be able to, recommend different books to them on different topics. And I've been able to do that a few times this last year. And I've enjoyed that a lot, and I want to continue to be able to do that. So I want to, get to reading some more of these Lincoln books so that I can recommend if they are recommendable. So the next one goes with my James Michener project. If you've been following the channel over the last 5 years or so, I have been trying to work my way through James Michener's, all his complete works. And when did I start the Michener project? Was that 3 years ago, 4 years ago? I can't remember. I think it was 4 years ago I started that. And I've been trying to read at least one of his works every single year. 2 if I can get them in, but as you can see, they are thick books. All of them are up near the 1,000-page mark. This one is 1,096 pages, and basically Michener, if you're not familiar with his writings, he takes an area, so in this case Texas, and he goes from the beginnings of time and goes through the geology and the geography of the area to set the to put together the setting for the story, and then brings all from the earliest settlers all the way through, with Native Americans to the settlers to all the way to the present day of when this book was printed. And he spins a good yarn, and it is really, really good historical fiction. If you've never tried Michener, you need to try him. I know they're intimidating, but once you get into it, it is so wonderful. So, my next one on the list comes in at 1,106 pages. And this is the Civil War, a narrative. It's volume 3, Red River to Appomattox by Shelby Foote. Most of you out there that are Civil War fans have read this. I've read the first couple volumes, but I have not gotten to volume 3. I should have already finished this. This should have been... When did I put it on? Was it 2 years ago or was it last year? I think 2 years ago is when I was supposed to have finished this. And I just didn't get to it. And so I'm going to make a point of getting to it this year. Again, big, thick book. But if you've ever read Shelby Foote, it's good stuff. And to listen to him in some of the documentaries, to listen to him speak of this stuff. And of course, he's got a good Southern drawl, nice... syrupy like molasses. That was not a very good... that was a terrible... his Southern drawl, I'll just put it at that. I did not do that right. Don't make fun of me. And then the last book, and it's actually a 2-volume set. So I'm going to count them together. They're both about 1,000 pages. It comes in at a total of 1,976 pages, and I go back to Lincoln again. And this was a gift from a friend a long time ago. I just hadn't got to it, but it is Michael Burlingame's Abraham Lincoln, A Life. Again, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Now, this set, you can find this book on the, is it Knox College? Is that I'm trying to think of the name of the college that holds the papers for this. And it's the unedited version, and it's well over 2,000 pages for the entire, the entire book, and it's pretty impressive. So it's the version before it got cold at the editor's desk. But yeah, that's going to be a heck of an endeavor there, but I'm really looking forward to it. So there is the first question in the tag. Question number 1 is now done. Those are the ones that are on. Those are the top 10 biggest books on my TBR for next year that I have, an idea that I want to get those. Question number 2 is, how thick are your books? Now, I already pre-measured this, took the tape measure, measured it all up, and it came up to just under 2 feet thick of books at 23 3/4 of an inch, almost 2 feet thick. So question number 3, do you think you can read them all? My answer to this is maybe. Maybe, if I can stay focused. My biggest concern is this last year, I kind of got into a rhythm with my books, and I quit worrying about TBRs so much and quit worrying about, what I need to get read. I put that in big old air quotes, what I need to get read. And I just read whatever came up that I thought sounded good, felt good, whatever mood I was in, I read it. And I read a lot of books. And I've also made a big effort in making the best use of my time as far as that. I have not watched, I used to watch a lot of TV, and this last year I have not watched a whole lot of TV. I have done way more reading than I have ever in my reading life. And so I had a bunch of books I finished this last year. So I'm going to say maybe it is possible that I could get these done, but I'm definitely, like I said, I'm going to definitely have to stay focused. I'm not going to guarantee it. There's no way I'll guarantee it. Question number 4 is, how many pages are they? So total and then on average. So for the total, it came up to all, there's 11 books here, 10 titles, 11 books total, came up to 10,773 pages. And it averaged out to about 975 pages, no, excuse me, 979 pages per book. 979 pages per book. So, it's a lot of reading. Question number 5, the one that might put me in the hospital here. I don't know. The question is, do you even lift books, bro? In other words, can you lift the stack? And so, old Al over at Big Al Does BookTube, you just challenged my manhood. So, I've got to at least give it a try. And, oh my goodness. Hang on, I just don't want to drop them all. Okay, they're up in the air. Oh, the Leaning Tower. I don't want to tear my books up. So, there you go, BookTube. I did lift it from a sitting position even. Not even from a standing. That was from a sitting position. So, Big Al, flex on you there, buddy. So, question number 6 is tag some people. Now, this is a fun tag, and again, I open it up to everybody. I'm not going to limit it to anybody, but I'm going to tag, let's see here. I'm going to tag Brian over at Brian MR. I am going to tag John David, since he donated one of the books in my pile. I'm going to tag Peg over at the History Shelf because I like to pester her a little bit. And, well, that's 3. That's enough. I'll tag those 3, and would like to see what books you are planning on reading. So, BookTube, again, what are you planning on reading? What are the 10 biggest books in your pile? Let me know. And until next time, happy reading, or maybe happy lifting.